Hello everybody, I am back, and today I have 5 more pieces of lost media. Alright, to start, we'll do The Four Devils. It's a lost film from the 1920s, 1928 to be exact. It's about a set of acrobats. So, Four Devils was one of renowned director F.W. Murnau's, I'm sorry, I can't do the names. Final films, detailing the lives of 4 trapeze performers who were orphaned as children. The film was released in both silent and sound versions under close supervision by production company Fox Films, which limited Murnau's artistic freedom. It was a failure at box office, but was met with many glowing reviews. Both versions of Four Devils are lost. Some speculate that one of the film's actresses, Mary Duncan, borrowed the only surviving copy and never returned it to 20th Century Fox. She reportedly misplaced it, though some suspect that her heirs may have found it. A slideshow of Four Devils was included as a special feature on Sunrise's Out of Point DVD release in 2003. It featured the script played out in its entirety with rare production photos and vocal narration to accompany it. That's about it with this one. It's not got much to it. Just a lost film. Looked pretty cool, though, especially for the time, as it was just when sound movies were coming out, though I will say it is pretty freaky looking. Alright, now on to the next one. It is 64 Wars. It's a lost build of an unreleased Nintendo 64 turn-based strategy game. It was supposed to come out in 1999. Alright, 64 Wars, also known as Advanced Wars 64, is an entry in the Wars franchise. Plans called for interconnectivity between Game Boy Wars 2. 64 Wars was showcased at Space World 1999 with a release date of January 29, 1999. Despite this, the game was cancelled for unknown reasons. Gameplay. Advanced Wars 64 would have followed the same format as other games in the Wars series, which is a tactical role-playing game. Players would oversee a 2D map, but when battles would occur, the battles would render in 3D. Additionally, the game would have utilized the Game Boy Transfer Pack with Game Boy Wars 2 to gain access to several features, such as the ability to transfer match progresses between systems. The menu for this function still appears in Game Boy Wars 2, but cannot be used. Availability. While the game was never released, screenshots and footage of 64 Wars have surfaced. Despite this, no builds of 64 Wars have ever been released or leaked. Now I'm going to show you some of the footage that has been put on YouTube.
ゲームボーイで人気を博した本格戦略シミュレーションゲームゲームボーイウォーズシリーズがさらなるパワーアップを遂げ64ウォーズとして任天堂64に登場。まずゲームボーイから任天堂64に変わったことでテレビ画面に表示されるマップを広くしたりユニットの攻撃移動範囲を明るく表示することでさらに分かりやすく簡単な操作が可能になった。最大の特徴はこの三軍戦モード。これは同じ戦闘マップで3つの軍隊が戦いを繰り広げるものだから、敵が1つでないだけに勝利するためには高度な戦術が必要とされ、ひとときも気が抜けない状況が続く。また任天堂64の機能を生かしたビジュアルの充実も大きな特徴だ。戦闘イベントは 3DCG で再現。その他にも占領シーンや戦闘機の離着陸シーンなども迫力のある映像に仕上がっていて臨場感あふれる戦闘を楽しむことができるぞ。 さらに好評のマップエディット機能ももちろん搭載。テレビ画面で作業できるから操作も楽にできる。自分だけのオリジナルマップを作って戦術に磨きをかけよう。最後に64ウォードはゲームボーイウォーズ2と完全リンクしている。64GB パックを使ってゲームボーイウォーズ2と戦闘データやマップデータのやり取りができるから、ゲームボーイで遊んだ続きを64ウォーズでプレイできるんだ。任天堂60移動ソフト64ウォーズ、ここに戦火は完結する。
Now on to the next one. 64 Zoo Lane, the lost pilot of a British-French children's animated TV series. 64 Zoo Lane is an animated children's TV series created by Anne Rabaut. That is an interesting name. I can't say the names, I'm sorry. That originally ran from 1999 to 2003 and from 2010 to 2013. The series revolves around a 7-year-old girl named Lucy who lives next to a zoo where the animals tell her a story every night she visits them. Pilot. In 1994, a pilot was made for the series after winning the prize money for Anne's previous film, Little Wolf, and with a loan from Cartoon, that's part of the European Union organization Media 2, measures to encourage the development of the industry of audiovisual production that funds various TV series and films in Europe to help compete in the international market. The pilot started development in 1993 and was finished a year later, where it was shown at the Cartoon Forum in the Azores. Despite the pilot's popularity, it took 5 years to get the funding it needed to make it into a full series, and another 2 years for Zoomlane Productions and Millimages, French production company, to develop the first season. Other than a promotional image, no footage or any other material of the plot is currently available. Now we'll move on to the next topic, the $64,000 question, the lost unaired pilot for the CBS revival of Steve Carlin Game Show, 2000. The $64,000 question was an American game show that aired on CBS from June 7th, 1955 to November 2nd, 1958, where contestants answered a series of questions with increasing difficulty from $64 to the show's namesake, $64,000. The show was the highest-rated television production of the 1955 to 1956 season, and its success would usher in several other game shows that would dominate prime time, including Tic-Tac-Doe, The Big Surprise, and most notably, 21. The show is now infamous with its association with the quiz show scandals of the 1950s, where it was revealed that many of the quiz shows that were airing at the time were rigged by the producers, and the $64,000 question was among the shows canceled before the decade's end as a result. Outside of a spin-off entitled The $128,000 Question, no new versions of the show have materialized. However, in 2000, there was an attempt to resurrect the show for CBS. Gameplay. A pilot for the show was taped in April 2000 and was filmed in Los Angeles. The pilot was hosted by CBS sportscaster Greg Gumbel, and the format was slightly different than the 1950s counterpart. 2 players are selected, and they are asked a series of general knowledge toss-up questions where $1,000 is awarded for a correct answer and a wrong answer deducts $1,000. The first player to get $8,000 moves on to the solo round. The current contestant goes onto an isolation booth, just like in the original, and they must answer a series of multiple choice questions off of one of the TOE subject categories that were chosen by the player before going into the booth. That the player may not bail and must try to answer the question within 30 seconds. This happens with the $16,000, $32,000, and $64,000 questions, with increasing numbers of multiple choices. If the $64,000 question is answered correctly, the contestant is guaranteed that money no matter what. After the $128,000 question, the questions are no longer multiple choice, and contestants can win more than the show's namesake. Availability. The only information on the pilot is on the game show Plotlight website, where the site pointed out that the pilot was making the same mistakes as his 1950s counterpart did. The website also called Gumball a promising host and noted that the set of the pilot looked ugly. The exact reason why the pilot was rejected is conflicted. The show's Wikipedia page says it was because of format issues, while the game show's wiki says the pilot was passed in favor of Survivor. Whatever the reason, the pilot has never been seen since it was made, and the only visual from the pilot is the title card from the pilot. Now we'll move to our last subject, the 737 cockpit, Lost ZE Spectrogram ZX81 Flight Simulation Game, 1982. 737 Cockpit is a game made for the ZX81 and or ZX Spectrum in 1982. It was produced by Machinecraft Ltd., who listed the game in their adverts for the November and December issues of Your Computer magazine for that year, pricing it at $5.75. Little is known about the game, as no screenshots, physical copies, or ROMs have surfaced since its mention in Your Computer. Judging from the game's title, it was likely a flight simulation in which the player flew a plane from an interface similar in nature to that of the Boeing 737 aircraft. It is uncertain what platforms the game released on, as the November advert stated that it was for the ZX81 with a minimum of 16 kilobytes of memory. However, the December advert stated that the game was for the ZX Spectrum and instead required a minimum of 48 kilobytes of memory. The difference between these two home computers would also change how the game was displayed, as the ZX Spectrum supported color output, a feature the ZX81 lacked. Alright, that will end today's video. These were 5 lost pieces of media, and I hope you guys have enjoyed. If so, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next time. Until then, goodbye.